John Stein is the founder of Baker's Crust, and they're going to explain a new concept called Crust to you today. And you know, we all start businesses for strange reasons. John's was simple. He couldn't find good crusty bread. He likes good crusty bread, and now you get all the good crusty bread you want. Right?
I do.
Sometimes not when you order it,
And
but
chocolate
you get it.
cookies.
And chocolate cookies and dessert. That's good. Anyway, it's my pleasure to introduce John Stein, and he will be assisted by Eric Coble, who is the Chief Financial Officer over here, and does all the technical stuff to back him up.
Yeah,
So,
makes me look good on the financial statements. So, thanks, Ron. We're super excited to be here today to talk to you about the Crust and to share with you a little bit about the evolution of Baker's Crust and also some of my experiences as an entrepreneur over the years. I come from a family of retailers. My great-grandfather was one of the founders of Hofheimer Shoes, which was a, Ron, did you know of Hofheimer Shoes? Years ago. They started it back in 1889 by my great-great-grandfather, and it was a retail shoe store. And they built it up over almost 100 years, and then they sold it to a company in Great Britain. But as a child, I guess my first entrepreneurial experience was when I was about 11 years old. And I guess I learned quite a bit from this experience because we thought that if we could sell hot, fresh donuts to our neighborhood, people would buy them. They'd be excited about them. So we went around and took orders for Krispy Kreme donuts that we were going to deliver on Saturday morning, sell them at a fair price, and then just deliver them on Saturday morning. The problem was the cause wasn't a real cause. So I went to Cape Henry Collegiate School, and we had just got this really nice wrestling mat. And so I told my friend, I was like, let's just tell them we're selling it for the Cape Henry Collegiate Wrestling Team. And so we did it, sold tons of donuts. We went and picked up the donuts that morning. His brother had a truck. We loaded the truck up with donuts. We delivered them hot and fresh, and people loved them. But unfortunately, somebody called the school and said, "Are y'all raising money for the wrestling team?" And Dr. Mumma, the headmaster, was like, "Not that I know of." And unfortunately, I was asked to leave the school for that. So I made like $60, you know. And back then, it was incredible, you know. And we offered a great, and I knew the person that called because she didn't want the donuts that morning. So anyway, but it was my first experience as being an entrepreneur. You know, I lifeguarded, I taught skiing up at Wintergreen, and when I had these jobs, I just didn't feel the passion that I felt working for myself. It just, you know, I got so much inspiration working for myself. I was never a great student, so I did not graduate from college, and I had a hard time in school growing up just because I just had a hard time focusing. I just had a lot of creative ideas that were kind of spawning around in my mind. And in high school, I had a lawn care business. It was called Complete Lawn Care. Me and a buddy got a trailer, and my dad had a riding lawnmower. And I said, "Dad, can we borrow your riding lawnmower to cut yards?" And through the whole summer, we had like 8 or 9 yards we were cutting a day. So when I gave it back to him at the end of the summer, it was unfortunately worn out. But it was a good business and one of the hardest businesses I've ever had, because I don't know if any of you have ever been in lawn care, but it's not easy work. Milling and edging yards and bagging the grass and the allergies and everything that comes along with that. But so anyway, I always liked starting my own businesses. And we started Baker's Crust, and we built the restaurant based on the quality of our breads and the quality of our sandwiches and our salads, and it was very well received. You know, we started off slow, and it was because we really didn't do a lot of marketing. We had a gentleman that used to come in every Sunday. His name was Eric Warden, and he was the morning guy on, at that time it was the Coast, 93.7. It was the radio station. Right now it's Bob FM. But he used to come in every Sunday and have lunch, and after a couple of, I guess, weeks doing that, he started talking about us on the radio. And people started coming in, and then they did an article on us. And after that, we became just enormously busy. We had one sandwich unit behind the counter, and we had the oven so people could see. I would come in the morning at at 6:30. Philippe would be leaving around 9 or 10 because he had came in the night before at 7. And so he would be baking the breads all through the night. They'd be coming out of the oven the morning when I would come in. And then we would kind of swap. But we had this one sandwich unit, and this first woman we hired, her name was Evelyn, and she was about 55 years old. She had just moved from California because her husband had passed away. And they did that article, and all of a sudden, boom, we had a line to the door. Because we had the quality breads, we had the quality products, and people loved the product. And I'm looking at her, and I'm like, Evelyn, gotta go faster. You know, she couldn't make the sandwiches quick enough. This place, we were really busy. And I'm like, you gotta make them big, you know? People love these sandwiches. You know, put a lot of meat on them, put a lot of, sprouts and tomato and everything. These sandwiches were beautiful. We were sending them out. And we were very successful. We added another sandwich unit and hired more people. And then all of a sudden I get my first P&L. And I'm like, how could we have lost, this much money? And then I looked at food costs and all these other variables that come. We managed along the way. I mean, we figured it out. We hired a chef. We got rid of the oven because we realized it did not make sense to have a full baking team in each store from scratch. And over the last year and a half, we knew that we had to do something at dinner time that bridged the sandwich gap, but was not fancy and did not go, and that was not really separated from the sandwich casual dining concept that we had started. So I decided, okay, I had toyed around with this for a long time, and I was like, I love pizza, and that's a product that's casual. And again, so I started applying my own personal philosophies on quality. I said, Philippe, we're going to New York, and we're going to learn about pizza. Because he is without a doubt the most incredible baker I've ever met. He's a master baker, and he's from a small town outside of Paris, and he's a brilliant baker. And he's just, the quality of what he does is phenomenal. These are his breads that you see, and those are his hands actually as well. So I said, we're going to New York. So we went to New York. We researched it. Spent some time in Brooklyn. About 36 hours. We ate at about 6 or 7 pizza places, like 4 times a day. And Angelica was asking me earlier, I bet you're sick of pizza. And I really am not, because I loved pizza growing up, and it's always been a favorite food of mine. So we went there, though, and we experienced all these wonderful pizzas. They baked them in ovens with coal. They baked them in ovens with wood. And then Philippe ended up going out to California to meet with a certified Neapolitan pizza expert. And he did that, and then Michael came out to our place, and we decided we're going to do it in one of our restaurants. We're going to turn one of our front areas, our bakeries, into a pizza place. Not a pizza place, but we're going to offer Neapolitan pizzas along with our other products. We already had bruschettas on the menu. We already had great, wonderful sandwiches on our artisan breads. So we thought it was a good fit. So Philippe and I designed the front area at our Hilltop store, brought in an all-wood-fired oven, similar to this place called Company, C.O. in Manhattan. And this was Jim Leahy's pizza place. He was actually one of the more successful bakers in New York City, called Sullivan Street Bakery. Bakes thousands of loaves of bread a day to the best restaurants in New York. So we went to his place and we sat down, and actually some of the crust was modeled around that. They've got some community tables that we're doing over here in the Crust, and some other things. But the chef at Company let us come back into the kitchen, look at his oven, showed us about his pizzas a bit. And so we really learned a lot. We're actually using the same oven as he used. It's all wood-fired, no gas, all oak wood. We wanted very traditional. So we came back. Michael taught Philippe about baking traditional Neapolitan pizzas. And then Michael left, and then Philippe put his own inspiration into the dough that he made, using a little malt, using some of the things that he had done traditionally in French baking, because he was a French baker. He's a Frenchman. And if any of you come to work for us, you'll meet him, because he'll be with us for about 3 or 4 weeks, teaching people how to do it at the front at the Crust. So he put his own spin on it, and he created this phenomenal dough and this great, wonderful pizza. The ingredients, real Italian tomatoes that we mill. We don't cook them. We don't make a sauce. They're fresh. And we make our own homemade fresh mozzarella, which you've been seeing them do for the last few minutes up here. And fresh basil. The buffalo mozzarella that goes on one of these pizzas comes from Italy. So we really stayed true to the ingredients. And we opened it at Hilltop, and it's done well. It's done really, really well. So we feel like we finally got a product that can bridge that sandwich, that casual element of Baker's Crust brand. And so Eric and I, continually talked about, okay, what's the next Baker's Crust going to look like? And the location of Tribe Square was brought to Eric. And we talked about it, and we said, okay, well, what about a wood-fired oven place with just the grinders, our subs baked in the wood-fired oven, some bruschettas. We have to have a couple college things, a couple college products, so some buffalo wings, roasted buffalo wings, maybe a few, other appetizers, some wonderful salads, and then, a nice bar, a fun bar, and then a fun environment. And then we thought, well, how awesome would it be to let it be student run? And let's create a whole company here about the students. So it's like, how great would it be to have a business that we can tap some of the smartest and brightest people around and have them learn from us and we learn from them and build a company based on that, that working relationship. Something new we're doing there as well. We'll have an iPad that the students will go pick, 300 songs or 400 songs, and they'll buy them, and then they can send the iPad out to different tables and say, put together the playlist that you want from our library. And it'll be wireless, and it'll come through and come through our sound system and so forth. So really trying to create a fun business here that is run by the students. And we're real excited about it. So that's it pretty much for the history of Baker's Crust and where we hope to go and where we've been. So hope you enjoyed that story.